Well, ladies and gents, there was no telling if that worked. Little behind the scenes detail. We bragged about it on air that Number One Contender was the only show that we weren't having tech issues with.
So we hard jinxed ourselves.
So the Pro Tools just went, there aren't any microphones Friday night at 2 o'clock in the morning when we finished watching the draft and we're ready to record. So here we are. If all goes according to plan, this is being uploaded the day it is recorded on Friday the 1st. Monday.
I thought you were about to throw your headphones.
No, in fact, I just barely caught them.
That's good.
So Joel helped me fix what was wrong here. Just in time for right before we started recording, me to realize that we couldn't get any playback audio.
So we couldn't hear the intro if it played?
So if the intro played and played to completion without the sound of us laughing at the fact that it might not work, I want everybody at home to know that was American Italian ingenuity and luck and the power of the pasta. With that, I am your host, Jared the Dark Jedi Bachman Stubbs. This is Travis Blackleader Grossman.
I remembered my can today.
He remembered his can today, and holy shit, that draft.
It was a draft.
Before we get into the thick of it, Travis, just overall thoughts of the proceedings of the night.
It was pretty drama-free. They kept it pretty concise. I was proud of them.
I mean, there were some individuals who did not get to speak that night, so.
Are you referring to Andrew Guy and his absence?
I'm mostly referring to the fact that there was no KO or Roka, quite frankly.
Oh, well,
I mean, KO got to dance his ass off, and we respect you.
Unequivocally, the most entertaining part of the entire thing.
I love that he goes full, like, Kalinowski crackhead.
One person pointed out that it was funny he was in the background. He was like, I am milking this so hard. I know what I have to do.
I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I have the strength.
Oh, he absolutely knows he has the strength to do it. But yeah, people got moved. A lot of rookies got drafted. I don't know who any of them are. So that's great.
That's the fun of rookies, is that they,
yeah,
you know, with the exception of like a lot of Dragon Con people who we know
they're
have to be bringing the heat. You know, yeah.
I honestly, there's only like one big drama-y thing I think out of the draft, and that was Ace. Because Ace's comments have been a little spicy on the twits.
I did not see any of his all I saw was just the ha 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 on Twitter.
I think Ace the character is a little salty. He got picked after Laura Kelly.
I don't blame him. I think as a manager, I think Winston
he gambled. He gambled.
He took a very big gamble there. I want to know how much of taking Laura Kelly from corruption, as sad as I am to have our illustrious Force Toast colleague no longer with the greatest faction. It is heartbreaking.
For now. Greatest for now.
Greatest today, greatest tomorrow, greatest yesterday. The reign of corruption is eternal. As upset as I am to see Laura go, we'll talk about what the Star Wars division is going to look like this season, because I think your hypothesis might prove to be wrong.
Really?
I really think this might be the season that, with the correct conditions, could make Star Wars a lot more interesting beyond a really entertaining tournament.
I mean, you're right. There is always a very small chance that one day I almost said Matt Damon again. Alex Damon just gets sniped out of nowhere. Like, I mean that in the literal, like a random bullet fires through his house.
I hope not.
I don't want that to happen by any means, but it's the only way he's being taken down as champion. That's a lie. I don't know about any of these Dragon Con rookies that everyone's very hyped. I mean, a lot of them were in the first and second round for draft picks. People are really putting bets behind them, rightfully so.
Yeah,
that's one thing that makes sense to do that I didn't think of was to put your first picks into Star Wars and Inner Geekdom. Because they're before singles and teams in the year. So you're going to get those points first. And also to make sure that, because there's less people in those divisions and there's more, I think there's a higher density of heavy hitting players.
Yes.
Like, especially now, in order to be a good Inner Geekdom player, you have to be incredibly good. You know, like KO, Smets, Chandru,
Chance, you know,
yeah, even Chance, yeah,
especially considering Dan Murrell's going to be stepping into that as well as Mara Kanopic's return,
which we somehow missed the dungeon picking up Mara. I haven't gone back and rewatched the draft. So either it was there and we just never noticed, or it was a trade before, like it was maybe some draft pick exchanges before the draft that we didn't know about. But Mara's in the dungeon. Whoop. And I think having her and Dan, both be in the dungeon and both competing in Inner Geekdom raises both their chances higher to one of them, if not both of them, at some point getting the belt this season.
I also think that just at the very least by fan popular demand are getting one step closer to IG teams being a thing.
Which at that point...
Just because there's so many powerful players
from the same faction.
Yeah.
And you and I both want that very much. We've talked about it.
Yeah.
I think if Inner Geekdom teams happens, it's going to be corruption. Like... Chance and KO were up here. I think Mara and Merle could be here. And then maybe Parker and Smets when Smets comes back.
Oh, that's a scary team up. I'm not.
And then two of those teams are from the dungeon. So like,
yeah, but the dungeon has at the very least by sheer numbers has restaked its claim at trying to be the Inner Geekdom faction.
Well, now they have it. Now they aren't just an Inner Geekdom faction. That was their problem last season. I mean, that was their problem in general. But they have Merle and Bateman to fire off in singles. They have Mara as a former Inner Geekdom champion. I think she's gonna have to brush up a bit and make sure she's on her game.
Yeah, I mean, she is the Inner Geekdom number one contender.
So
I love doing that so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. All it's missing is like the weird like Trump YMCA dance while I'm doing it. Anyway, if we both go to do it at the same time, we can do a fusion and and basically turn into Billy Butcher.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So yeah, first pick, Mara going to the dungeon. I think that gives her and Dan way stronger appeal in Inner Geekdom together because they can study together and they live in the same house. So that's that puts them up even higher. And yeah, everyone going for Star Wars Inner Geekdom to me just makes sense. Star Wars is also so competitive now between all the powerhouse players and the Dragon Con people. As long as you have one of them. And now it's not even a guarantee of points because, what happens if Laura Kelly and Joseph Scrimshaw get put up together in the first round?
Yeah,
and those are two of the players that you go, oh, they're going to make it to the semifinals. It's easy. That's just an easy pick for your bracket. Well, now it isn't.
You could also, as much as it pains me to bring it up, have a situation similar to the singles tournament last season, where you have players who either have been out of it for a minute. there was already many Star Wars players who are like an analog to Perry Nemiroff's return and her taking out KO in the first round, but also Adam Collins taking out Roka. Mm-hmm. And I think it'd be more analogous to that because it would be a rookie. But you could have one of these Dragon Con cats come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And kneecap Scrimshaw or kneecap Demolanta or kneecap Kelly.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, between that and the Intergeekdom claims, I think the first couple rounds were super interesting just because of that. And then after that, it was just all, mostly rookies I didn't know.
Yeah, there were a lot of... I was really surprised. I think it's James Barney is the guy's name. I follow him on Twitter. I didn't even realize he was in the draft. I forget. There's so many Star Wars podcasts. You forget who all is a host and who all is just a Twitter personality. Mm-hmm. But his avatar is like him holding like a purple lightsaber. Good follow. I didn't even know he was in the draft. He didn't get picked.
Oh, yeah?
He's like one of the number one people who are being recommended for the first class league, which, to talk about that real quick, I know a lot of the time people refer to the fan leagues as like the unofficial minor leagues for the Schmoedown.
But now we have an official minor league.
There's an official minor league with the first class league being managed by the boat himself, Brad Gilmore. So very excited to watch some of that. We will be keeping up with the first class league. I will probably do what this one does for the CW stuff for the most part and be the one who's all over it because I am very fascinated by some of this rookie talent.
I'll watch the matches.
Oh yeah. I made it sound like you don't give a shit about the first class league. That's not what I meant. But
I mean, now I don't give a shit about most of the CW stuff, so that's pretty accurate. I'm watching Superman and Lois this season, and that's about it.
Oh, I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for you that you made that decision. But yeah, with that, we are going to jump into the actual draft itself. Another thing, I gotta ask Joel how to get the monitor to show us again. Because I don't know how to do that. But in the meantime, and I will just kind of periodically look back at the StreamYard to make sure nothing's on fire. Anyway.
Everything is on fire.
So, first up, we have the new loadout for Corruption, which is as follows. Mike Kalinowski, Chance Ellison, Adam Collins, we knew that. Marisol McGee, we knew that from free agency.
Yes.
Mark Koich, Joseph Scrimshaw. Really wish y'all saw my reaction to that one. Sean Sullivan, Jacob London, whom is a rookie. Clee Wiggins, James White, also a rookie. Claudia Dolph, I don't think she's a rookie. Maybe she is. And Elliot Dewberry. Solid team, not too terribly different from the loadout we had at the beginning of Season 7. The biggest addition being Joseph Scrimshaw. And this is what I was referring to when I said that I think this could be the year Alex Damon loses.
Yeah.
I think somebody with as much of a deep lore knowledge, and that's not to say that Laura or even Demolanta or anybody else isn't as well acquainted with the expanded lore in canon. I know they are. I know that for a fact. I think somebody like Joseph Scrimshaw, who is a little older and has therefore had enough time to consume as much as he has, because there is a differential. And again, and this is where, like, especially with like talking about the Star Wars Schmoedown, I get afraid that there's like a seniority principle with fandom, and that's not the case. And I think anybody who follows the other shows that we do around here would know that is not the belief of anybody around these parts. That said, you cannot argue with the fact that I think Joseph has been a harder deep cut fan than Laura has been for the most part, because I'm pretty sure he's older than Laura and has had more time to get in the trenches and dig deep. And I think
Scrimshaw's like 40, isn't he?
I think so. I think he's old enough to have seen the original trilogy.
Because his beard is gray, and you and I were both like, how old is Joseph Scrimshaw that his beard is gray?
Yeah. So off the top of my head, I think him, like Ken, with the proper training and being put through the ringer, the way that we know corruption likes to do with its players, and the boot camp they like to put people through. I think if you take somebody like Joseph Scrimshaw, who on a day where he hasn't studied, could like go to town with 99% of the other people around him. Like, again, he had that loss against Demolanta, but it was a perfect game up till sudden death. And not to take away from Demolanta's victory, I think it's more to do with the fact that I don't think he understood the question.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because he gives a weird answer.
It was a flub.
Yeah. So.
And I think he knows it's a flub. So I think he's going to have the energy that Demolanta had last season of, like, I've gotten so close so many times. I am here for this belt. I'm here to make this run on the championship. Because again, like, everyone had Scrimshaw up at the top of his bracket. And the only reason he didn't make it was because he flubbed that one question in sudden death. So, who was he with last season? Was it Sam or Coy?
He was with Coy.
Okay.
I want to say he was on the Mercs.
Okay.
Short-lived, but he was there.
Let's say, and then I don't know that I see that much of a difference in terms of who's managing him.
I really do think that he's going to get a bit of a Star Wars boot camp here. Because I don't see Scrimshaw wanting to stay around with the knowledge that he might end up with people who are going to be like, you are going to train and you are going to be ready to go toe-to-toe with the demon. I don't see Shannon trying to turn him into like a one-man Star Wars army more than he already is. And that's something I'm very excited to see.
Nothing happened.
It was funny because last year I kept saying, obviously corruption's always going to be my favorite. And last season it was closely followed by the exchange. Because I love Gucci as a character. He's certainly something. I love Roka, both as a player, as a person, as a character. Same with Bateman. Same with Merle. All of them. But this season, it's very much corruption and swag for me.
Yeah.
Because there's a decent amount of players on swag that I like, especially, Laura, who, if Joseph can't get the belt, I still want Laura to. I'm still pulling for her, regardless. But, yeah, corruption seems interesting. They didn't say how many divisions KO would be playing in.
Yeah, if he's going to...
And he's been threatening quitting IG for a minute.
Wait, really?
Yeah, he said last season he wasn't even going to play IG. He only threw his hat into IG because they needed to get the points back. So,
I feel like that's just not a good move for him. I mean, like, I guess if he really wants the singles belt, maybe. But I think IG's just his strong suit. Like, that's just where he's...
I really hope he doesn't walk away from IG. I'm going to be really upset and disappointed if KO isn't in IG this season. I don't see Chance running away from IG anytime soon. Like, he won the friggin' tournament, so I'd be shocked by that. But yeah, lots of good stuff coming from Corruption this season. Very excited, obviously. And look forward to maintaining that number one spot.
Sure, yeah. Sure they will.
Moving right along to the
Sure they will.
Finstock Exchange. We have...
It's a lot of R's on our thing. We marked the rookies with an R, and that's a lot of R's.
Yes. And I think the last two are also rookies? I'm not sure. I didn't do a very good job keeping track of who all the rookies were. We're new at this. But up top, we have John the Outlaw Roca, the Barbarian, and JTE, which we knew from free agency. Newcomers on what is essentially an all-rookie team, aside from Roca, Barbarian, and JTE. Griffin Newman, Evan Goldleader, Mark Hayes, a.k.a. The Moose, I guess, Ty Lieberman, Brother Loomis, Rick Radis, Jeffrey Kahn, Kim Taylor Foster, and Taylor Robinson. A lot of new blood.
I think he was afraid that any non-rookie player would just go, I ain't working with Bobby Gucci. I'm not an idiot. He left Dan Merle at his title defense. I ain't dealing with that. I just won't play. They mentioned that when slight spoilers, when the Dungeon picked up Jericho, where they were like,
Did you see Jericho on Twitter?
No.
He said, no Roxy, no Jericho.
Sounds like a trade's happening to me.
It sounds like it to me as well. And when we either get to the rock stars or the dungeon, we can talk about who we think is going to end up on the stars. Stars. We will learn.
But yeah, so nothing but rookies.
No, yeah, essentially.
So I'm still holding on to John Roca teaming up with JTE for that power couple.
Please.
Only because I don't know any of these rookies. So I don't know if one of them is going to pair really well with JTE or JTE's going to pair with Barbarian. I have no idea. All I know is I think Gucci's trying to pull himself out of the mud as a manager and just show, see, I can win with all rookies. See? And I have a feeling it's not going to work.
I am really looking forward to seeing the knife fight for the singles belt. I really am. I think that look at some of the top dogs right now for singles. Obviously Collins already has it. But then you got Merle, who I think Merle's finally become a Schmoedown anti-hero.
Maybe.
Because I feel like he wants, from what he said, he wants blood. He wants to make Gucci and Roca his bitch. He wants that vengeance. So I like that a lot as a character thing. But again, you got to look at the running for the singles belt. You have Merle coming up, who gets an auto rematch because he defended it 3 times. Then you got Roca not far behind, who has enough division wins to just kind of put his balls on the table. Bateman is going to want a piece. I don't see KO really throwing his hat into the ring in singles right now. Unless come time for the tournament. Plus, Collins may be losing that belt.
Yeah, which is always a possibility. I think if Mike's going to really take a run at singles, he's going to take the season off until the tournament.
I agree. I really don't see KO trying to cannibalize the IG belt. Same with the singles belt rather. So same with Chance. Mm-hmm. Riley's been here and there. I'd like to see him go for it. Obviously, Riley is also with a new faction now. He didn't have some big public falling out with Dagnino like everybody else did. I try to do all of his names at least once in a show.
Yeah.
I try my best. But he didn't have some big dramatic falling out with him like Bateman and Merle did. So we'll see where that goes.
I loved Kate Mulligan's reaction to, I get to draft Mark Yodi Riley? Are you kidding?
That was very good. That was probably one of her funniest moments. Just period. The look on her face.
Just like, really? You guys let this happen? Really?
That plus the noise I let out when I thought she was about to draft Laura Kelly.
Oh, when she was like, let's just whoever's in slot 23, take her, but let's let it go till slot 23.
If the noise you people could have heard me make.
Oh boy.
Especially whenever we get to an off-camera draft for the dungeon and his team's partner. We'll explain that joke later. But yeah, the exchange looks interesting, and I think the exchange, again, not a whole lot to gain from a whole lot of R's here. I think you can take an educated guess and say that Gold Leader is going to be playing in Star Wars.
Nonsense. He's going to be playing in the new horror division.
The horror division.
Yeah.
That would be interesting. I can't say that I'd be super invested in it, but
they're not. I mean, I don't think they should do it. I saw someone on the Facebook group like, we should get MCU division, and someone commented on it. We should get a horror division too, and I was like, no, divisions, more divisions. The only thing I'd want to see added is a Teams Inner Geekdom.
Teams Inner Geekdom. I will say I can see the viability of a horror division.
It's not that it's not doable. I just think once you open that up, it's going to be a slippery slope, and people will want an action adventure division and like a decades division and
the decades division would make me want to jump off a bridge. I don't like that. That's
exactly. Like I think
the reason why Star Wars gets a franchise specific division
is because they all like Star Wars.
Everybody,
that's the only reason.
Everybody likes Star Wars.
It gets eyes in,
It brings eyes. You get the opportunity to have YouTubers and podcasters who are popular in the space throw in. And as a franchise, it is both wide enough and deep enough to mine an entire division of trivia for.
And I would argue that horror is as well.
Yes.
But I'd also argue that action adventure could be. And like that kind of stuff I think is better suited for
exhibition.
Thank you. Exhibition matches. Like they did in the brief interlude of COVID where they didn't know what they were doing. They were just like, we're going to have a bunch of exhibition matches on the Patreon until we figure out how live events are going to work. Which I enjoyed a lot of those. Like they had a Lord of the Rings exhibition match that I didn't watch, but I'm sure it was great. If you Lord of the Rings. So that was a brief interlude. Anyway, the Stars.
The Stars. A little more conservative with their rookies.
In terms of singles, we missed Jeff Snyder, who I think might want to make another run at the singles bout again.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We got distracted. I didn't even finish that thought. But yeah, there's a lot of people who I think are going to want to be hungry for the singles. And I think that just at a glance, the exchange might end up being a very singles-heavy division this time around, which is normally the case for what Gucci's involved with. For the Stars of no particular rock orientation, we have Mark the Android Andraco, Jeff the Insnider Snyder, and Alex the Demon Damon. We knew this. However, Roxy picked up Brandon Hanna, Zach Brackett, Janine the Machine, Jacoby Bankoff, Jacoby, you are welcome on this show whenever, solely because of your name. Love it. Felix, I didn't put a last name. Either I didn't hear it or couldn't understand what they were saying. Ken Jack, a rookie. Jeff Lowe, another rookie. Another Christina that I did not catch the last name of. And then Brittany Young, another rookie. I think there is a nice mix here of established talent, obviously with the free agency, plus Brandon Hanna and Janine the Machine.
I'm trying to find the graphic that has all their names.
Oh, I have that linked in the notes. Thank you.
Then why didn't you have it open?
I forgot that I did. I forgot that I put it in the notes right before we started. And then you saying that reminded me, oh, it's so small.
I'll pull it up on my phone.
Please do.
Please open an instant. Oh, thank God. It opened in the app and not on Google Chrome. So where are we? The stars
Yes.
of the Nut Rocks. Oh, God, it's so small.
I spat on myself.
Yeah, I cannot read any of these. That's a solid nope, friends.
Yeah. I will have in the episode notes, I will have a completely filled out and comprehensive list, either in the notes or in the episode description, and I will get that worked out. In the meantime, I think solid talent from the Stars. God, I hope Janine gets to have a good run this season. I'm not prepared to sacrifice any of my favorites to her. But I want to see Janine do some damage. That woman has the worst goddamn luck.
I want to see Brandon Hanna finally do something. Because, look.
We had this conversation.
I think he got cannibalized by kayfabe in his first season. Right? Because,
that should have been the name of our goddamn podcast.
Cannibalized by kayfabe?
Yes.
Someone take that. That's genius. You're welcome. What was I going to say? I think, because, we talked about it. He had those two promos, one match after the other, where he signed with Gucci, and then he signed with Burnett. Back to back.
Who?
Well, yeah. And they had to clarify on the Facebook group, yes, he's signed with the family. It took them several times having to explain how that happened. And then he was trying to be, a big heel and kind of just act like Ben Bateman. And it did not work.
Ooh, scathing. I enjoyed him, but that's because
I just think it inhibited his play.
Yeah, you really think that he went so far into the character that it hurt his...
I think so.
Trivia.
And then, come around to last season, and he's got that chip on his shoulder, and then on top of that, he was in the Burning Droogs, which they don't exist anymore for a reason.
They got Thanos snapped out of existence.
So, I think between all of that, he hasn't had his big shot. And I think
I'm inclined to agree with you. I want to see him do something because he's the kind of player that I latch onto very quickly.
I think a lot of the times with these managers, there's they have an A piece and a B piece in a combo where sometimes they won't line up. And I think the perfect example is Roxy and Jeff Snyder are perfect fits for each other.
Yeah.
Right?
In theory, on paper, they shouldn't be. But in practice, they're just...
Jeff Snyder would be an okay player, but with Roxy, it puts him up in the greatest of all time range.
He did a lot of impressive shit long before Roxy came in, or came back to the fold. Patriots run, really good turns in singles.
So what we're learning is he needs somebody next to him the whole time. It doesn't matter who.
I mean, he had Gucci, and that's really hit or miss.
Exactly. That's right. Roxy makes him consistent.
Okay. I will give you that.
If that's the thing he's missing in his play on his own, Roxy gives it to him. And that's how their relationship works. And a lot of times, man, Shannon and Mike just, I think, they're dating, but they have that connection. Shannon and a lot of her players, she does that. And same with Roxy. And I think
Shannon's really good at this scary mom thing.
I'm disappointed in you. You're better than this.
I'm pretty sure that's how she sounds off camera with everybody. I just mean that at a moment, it seems like Shannon is 100% okay with and prepared to stab another manager.
Oh, yeah.
And
oh, yeah.
That woman has tasted blood. And that's why I hang my hat on the corruption side of things. That said, she has such big mom energy for her actual faction mates.
But what I was getting at was I think Brandon Hanna is another B piece to Roxy's A piece. I think she's the one that can actually make him into the star player that he can be, because he's really good.
Yeah.
His first couple of matches, he was stellar, and then he signed with the family, and it all went to shit. And then, last season happened, and he still did okay last season.
Yeah.
But I think he's really going to make a power shot with Roxy. And like you said, I want to see Janine do good.
So badly. Just I remember was it like I think we were watching a match with Spencer and Joel when Janine played, and you and I both were like, man, if she was playing anybody but my favorite player, I'd be rooting for her right now. And like Mike's, she can still win this. She can still win this. I never want to see anything like that happen to Janine ever again. Like, I can't stand to watch this poor woman lose on bullshit when I truly think she's champion material.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Janine is champion material. And just like Demolanta in Star Wars,
or Brandon Hanna in Inner Geekdom.
Yeah. Just can't help but not end up like stepping on a rake at the very end of the match.
Or if you want to take the extreme of that, a Mr. Ben Bateman, who just for some reason in every title match except for the one with Bibiani, just can't help but not answer every single round 5 question.
Okay, when I said step on a rake, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a little disappointed in the joke you just passed up.
What did I pass up?
Because you could have gone with, because this season is war, step on a landmine, brought to you by Raytheon.
I got to be in the mood for Raytheon bits.
Okay.
The night's got to strike me. I don't think I'm there yet.
Okay, the night has to strike you? What the fuck does that mean?
I didn't do well in English.
As you canonically cannot read.
Correct.
Part of the Nerd Academy deep lore. But yeah, a very, very impressive loadout for the stars. Very exciting stuff. Get back over here. On to the Murky Quirks. I did that on purpose that time. I promise.
I could tell.
We have William the Beast Bibiani, Brendan the Kid Meyer, Kevin the Kevin Smith, Andrew the Hunter Demolanta, Eric Whiteley, Jesse Swift, Perry Nemiroff, Beth May, Josh Horowitz, Greg Alba, Sabrina Ramirez, and John Humphrey.
I'm happy with this.
I'm very happy with this.
I keep 2 of my favorite teams together on the faction they deserve to be on.
Yes.
Because, man, I love the Real Rejects. They are so fun. They're like a slightly more competitive Wildberries.
You're right. Yeah.
They're like,
speaking of which, Josh McCougan absent here. I think he has followed Ken Napstock into retirement.
Yeah. Oh, didn't they have their retirement match on the Patreon last season? The Wildberries played each other, I think, in a retirement match.
The Wildberries played each other, but that was... I think that was a part of the tournament, or that was some type of like novelty match.
It was a novelty match.
Yeah, well, because Elliot Dewberry's still there though. So I think it's just Makuga who's done.
I knew at least one of them retired.
I think it's just I maybe Makuga's done too, because he's also doing that like the Good People podcast with Ken. So I think Makuga might be out too, which is disappointing. Again, the era of the Schmoedown I got into, I kind of missed a lot of the Josh Makuga stuff by a little bit. I still got to see him and the Wildberries be him and the Wildberries, but I never really got a chance to get super into Makuga. I feel like if I was around long enough to see a lot of the Makuga nonsense happen, I would be a Makuga diehard, but alas.
But yeah, Demolanta playing for the Mercs. Fun.
Yes, that was another one of the free agency ones.
No, it wasn't.
There wasn't?
No.
Oh my God, no,
He
that's
just
Kevin Smith.
That was his. Yeah, it was Kevin Smith. He just drafted. Demolanta was his first pick.
Whenever I was looking at the notes, I threw myself off because of the way it's broken off. I forgot the Bibbs is up there, so I looked at the top 3 as Demolanta. Yeah, okay. The first pick of Demolanta, absolutely great pick. I think that this gives Andrew some room to breathe. I think that him being with somebody like Coy as a manager is exactly what Demolanta needs to grow as a player.
Yeah.
Because again, like, you don't really get an insight into what Tom Dagnino does as a manager aside from play the character of...
Aside from nothing.
You don't really get... I'm hesitant to say nothing. I feel like there is some off-camera stuff going on, especially now that there's an actual money pot here. Dagnino has to be doing something, at the very least, organizing other talent around him to help train up his rookies and help his returning players hone their skills. Fighting back the hiccups. That said, I think somebody like Coy, who is very much a soft touch and is very much a, hey, it's okay, don't beat yourself up, we're going to get in there next time type of person in general, beyond kayfabe, beyond any characters. Because I do think Andrew Demolante's chip on his shoulder goes beyond kayfabe. I think that there is obviously an immense respect for his contemporaries there, but I do think he is incredibly hungry and incredibly bloodthirsty for that belt and is 100% ready to chew off everybody's head to get there. Whether or not he can chew off their heads and, cross that threshold, like we said, like him and Janine and Bateman during championship matches, that magical rake just shows up and smacks him in the face. So I think maybe having someone like Coy in the room would be a nice balancing act. Mm-hmm. Kind of bring him back down, bring him back to the level footing. So I do like this pairing quite a bit.
Moving on.
We have anything? I mean, obviously, the rest of the Mercs stand for themselves. Perry Nemiroff, she did what she did last season, and I'm still not over it. But yeah, absolutely great loadout here.
Coy knows his strength as a manager, and he knows who that will benefit.
You're absolutely right, and I'm looking forward to seeing how everybody plays this season. I'm really excited because I think that this season, again, as much as we're about to talk about swag, so we can talk about Laura. As much as it pains me to see some flip-flops happen, I think that a lot of what has happened this season has been a fine-tuning of last season's teams. But moving along for swag.
Lawn Barris.
Oh, God damn it. I didn't fix it yet. I forgot. I'm so glad nobody can see my notes. But yeah, we have Chandra the Chosen, Don DePani. I'll break your arms. Chandra the Chosen, Don DePani, Paul Oyama, and Lon Harris from free agency. And then Winston Marshall went ahead and reunited with Eric Zipper. Andres Cabrera,
Laura Kelly,
Vanny Mancuso,
Cabrera,
Haley Fouch, John Kemp, John Harris, Bradley Tingle, and Frank Morin. And Laura Kelly's on corruption.
Nope, no, she's not.
What do you mean?
We know you like her, and we know you like your faction. But so your favorite players have to be on your favorite faction. But guess what? Not how that works.
I know, I'm upset. But yeah. I am curious as to whether or not the reunion of the Harris brothers, not Barris, Harris, means we are going to see the breakup
of Final Exam.
And the reunion of John and Lon's team, which is escaping me for some reason.
I don't remember.
Vamp.
Yeah, well, he looks for that. I'm wondering if Ace is going to want traded just because of Why am I blanking?
Because of the order of which they were drafted.
Because of getting.
I love how we both had like a hilarious brain fart here for a second.
Yeah, wow. Okay, I just had a full-on stroke. Yeah, Ace
Evil geniuses.
There we go. Thank you.
So so I'm wondering if evil geniuses will reunite here in their stead.
Which means Oyama needs a new.
Which means Paul needs a new teammate. All that said, I'm 100% very curious with what you're talking about here. I know, and
I forgot Winston's name.
Oh,
like full on. I kept going W name that isn't Wilson. Why do I keep thinking of Wilson? This is only our first show tonight.
Yeah, this is only our first show tonight.
But yeah, Winston's gamble at waiting to come back around for Ace. Ace does not seem to be happy about. I think I could see that blowing up later. I don't know that it's going to happen right away. And
I think this gets ugly if we end up having a situation like what happened with corruption and the IG tournament.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
Where Winston officially has to pick a child here.
Yeah. And I think the problem is he would pick Ace and then Ace wouldn't want it, you know?
Yeah. Well, there was also what Mark and Brad and Frank all said, that this might be a clever strategy to make Shannon trade with him.
That's true.
Now, whom here he would want to sacrifice having two Star Wars powerhouses on the same team for is to be determined. But I think there is still the chance.
Unless he's just going to go for draft picks next season later on, which is also an option. But
yeah,
that's a really like, I feel like that's not the move to make at the beginning of a season.
Yeah, that's a very risky long-term strategy that I don't know is
Worth it.
Yeah. It's a very interesting strategy here. And again, I think you run into an issue where these two players end up cannibalizing each other. And you don't have an established like friendship or rivalry turn friendship that you have with a lot of other players who end up cannibalizing each other later in the divisions. And I think that's where you really run into an issue here between Laura Kelly and Andres Cabrera. I don't know what Winston's endgame is here, other than really, really being dedicated to racking up points in a Star Wars tournament and doing what Corruption did and just running both sides of the board and having Chandru hold on to the belt and Paul try to run up to him. You know, maybe the Harrises, between Paul and the Harrises in singles and teams. Like, Winston, like Corruption, has a very good loadout to potentially rack up several belts and has a pathway to all four.
Yeah. Still not feeling Star Wars.
Technically three, because they do have the IG belt currently.
Yeah, so again, the chance is always there that Alex Damon's house vanishes out of reality. Or like the day he's supposed to play A meteor lands in his yard, giving him superpowers, and he's called to a higher calling. I don't know. I'm coming up with random ways that he's not going to play the day he needs to play. But Paul Oyama and the Harris brothers are definitely like his returning heavy hitters. Eric Zipper playing in an IG,
Yeah. Zippity doo-dah.
So, I don't know what's going to happen with Ace. I think that's the only real big thing of contention on Swag's board right now. Besides that, Winston seems to know what he's doing. He drafted almost all returning players. He only has one rookie that we know of.
Yeah, assuming I didn't
Screw
bungle.
Up, which, I wouldn't blame you for because I don't know any of the rookies. But
it was also hard to keep track of.
Yeah. Moving on to the Den.
Hold on, I accidentally went back to the StreamYard screen. There we go. Alrighty, so for the Den, we have Brett Sheridan, Ben Goddard, and Paul Preston, all from the free agency. Thomas Harper, rookie. Alonzo Duralde, another rookie, I think. We have Saul, as we referenced earlier, Mark Yodi
I got to draft Mark Riley. Moment of the season. Favorite moment of the season.
Peggy same energy as I won. Peggy Govins, Jada Paramo, Lacey Gillerin, David Del Rio, Jessica Schloth, and Rachel Silverstein. Silverstein.
That your phone must have done that.
Yeah, that was definitely. There's some really fun autocorrects in here, like Silverstein. For some reason, my phone neither attempts to correct or helps me get to Chandru Dandapani.
You've typed it enough, probably.
Not on the new phone. This phone, if I got to CHAND, it would finish with Drew and have Dandapani lined up. Because we had typed the name back and forth talking about the Schmoedown enough times. Same with Paul Oyama. There's some people here that I'm glad I don't know people with these names because I'd be embarrassed that my phone knows the autocorrect for the Schmoedown people before them. But yeah, no disrespect to anybody involved, but the Den seems just as perfectly mid-tier as they did last season.
I'm surprised that Kate Mulligan waited as long as she did to draft Rachel Silverstrini. But I guess she had other things to focus on and just figured because she already had Ben Goddard, no one would want to pick her up. Which, sure. I think Paul might get his big shot this season. I think he's going to be their big singles player besides Mark Riley, who I'm not the biggest fan of Mark Riley. Personally, I think he's up there with Roca for me as older great that doesn't compete right now. I mean, he can get serious and compete if he wants, but...
Ooh, Roca up there, too. That's interesting...
Roca's up there. I mean, Roca's going off right now, so maybe he's going to get back on the war horse.
I sure hope so. No, I see what you mean there, though.
The horsemen besides Ben Bateman last season all felt to me like they were in that mode of I know I'm at the top of this game. In terms of I have a shot at I'm potential for Rushmore or I'm on Rushmore. And so they they didn't take it easy. I never want to make it sound like they just didn't try. But they didn't
fight like their lives depended on it last season. Because we've seen how hard they can fight.
And they let the hungrier rookies kind of not reinvent the game, but just become hyper efficient at the game. You look at Adam Collins, you look at Kevin Smets in Inner Geekdom. Hell, you look at any new Inner Geekdom player, Chandru included, they're all insane.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
You can look at the percentages, and that's part of the reason I'm kind of worried about Mara for this title shot, is that back when she was champion and when she was competing for that belt, the, question percentage for correct answers was way lower. The total points per game was way lower.
This is something very interesting, is that I think in all the divisions, but
and I think
IG especially, it's a different game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And like, I mean, you even look at teams of like constant record breaking points between Shazam and I want to say Odd Couple broke a points record again at the Spectacular. I almost said the Schmectacular. Start calling it that. Start calling it that. Jesus. You know, Adam Collins and Dan Murrell both practically having perfect. I think they each missed a question.
I think you're
going
right.
into sudden death, and that was
you're
it.
right.
Which for singles is just ridiculous, and for that to be the standard now, you know, Riley and Roca for singles in that case have to double down and go, no, okay, I know I want this belt again, and I know I have because they have the potential. So, like, if Riley working with Kate Mulligan's what it takes for him to get that, you know, to really utilize it again, sure. You know?
Yeah. No, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And I think that is very insightful. Yeah. I think maybe Mark Riley might have the same kind of thing going on that I think Scrimshaw and Demolanta might have. That under the correct manager,
yeah,
somebody can just kind of, hey, wake up. And, you know, get them back in the fight in the way that they need to be thrown back into the fight.
Yeah. I'm kind of excited to see what the Den does this season. I want them to do well. Like, not like just as the underdog, I want them to do well. I like Paul Preston a lot, so I want Paul to do well. I forget Ben Goddard and Rachel Silverstream's team name already, but I liked them a lot.
I thought they were just the Den. I thought they were like a corruption thing.
No. They had a different team name. I don't remember what it was.
Okay. Last season, we missed a lot of singles and teams because and life.
Yeah. There are 2 major holidays happening during that time.
Yeah. And a Ponderosa.
So yeah, that's the Den.
Yes. I love how last season, and even like in the first couple episodes of this, you were beating the drum of I don't much care for factions.
I wasn't, but here I am. I'm putting my balls on the table, man. I am all in on the dungeon this season. I'm ready for the dungeon to have belts again. I'm ready.
Plural.
Oh, they had 2 belts. No, I guess they didn't have them. Technically, they had them for about 20 minutes. Because Smets won the Intergatum. Or no, Oyama had already lost.
Yeah.
Never mind. They didn't have them both at the same time, but it's fine.
No, but as a faction, they have been
they've had the
multiple
singles.
belts. But you think they're going to bring multiple belts home?
Oh yeah. I think Robert Parker's going to hold the Intergatum belt this season. I think he's gotten his rookie season jitters out of him.
Okay.
I think he can get past that I missed a question and that's the end of it. Like, he's such a perfect record kind of guy that, I'll see it every episode if I have to. I think once he gets past that rattle that happens when he misses a question, he'll be unstoppable.
Okay.
I think Dan Murrell, not necessarily going to be in talks there, but he's going to I had a stroke again. He's going to do really well. I think you have Mara in there, which if she doesn't win the belt, if she plays in the tournament.
I'm going to use my F-bomb here real quick. I think you're a fucking idiot if anybody is counting out Merle or Canopik. Like, worries about it's a different game than when she left are valid. Anybody who's counting any of them out and is not having them...
I'm not counting them out.
I know you're not.
Yeah.
That's the opposite of what you just said. Like, it's like, I'm just saying in general. Like, I'm saying this as the guy who wants to see his, like, Chance and Mike go head-to-head again at the end of a tournament. I am not 100% sold on their odds yet this season because of what's going on here. Like, in this general vicinity, I don't like this. This is scary to me, and I'm not even going to pretend I'm not frightened by the dungeon this season.
So, yeah, I think you have Molly Damon playing in Star Wars.
I was to say, if you just want to do the dungeon readouts, since these are your boys.
Oh yeah, right. We haven't even done the readouts. So, free agency was Dan Murrell, Ben Bateman, Robert Parker. We knew that. Molly Damon, Video Drew, Whitney Seibold, Chris Jericho, Adam Witt, John Hoey.
Let's go with Hoey.
Hoy? I think it might be Hoy.
Let's go with Hoy.
Who's a rookie. John the Flick Pick Flickinger, who we both subscribe to and enjoy the content of. And Chris Van Vliet is our dungeon. So
fucking Flick Pig, man.
I'm so excited. To watch him play. That was my can.
Well, because the Flick Pig, like, we got like towards the end of the night, and granted, again, we're watching this at like 1 a.m. in here, and are both at the point where it's like, man, no one's picked up Flick Pick yet.
And then we found out, because we didn't know that the last 2 rounds of the draft would be on Twitter. So we were like, okay, I'll pull up Twitter now, because it's I knew it was up. So I was like, I'll pull it up now just to give a read through really quick. Because the other one, Silver Strini, I was like, how has she not picked up Silver Strini yet? This makes no sense. And I'm reading through, and I shouted and paced around the room, and you were like, what? I'm like, he went to the dungeon. So I get to root for my boy.
I may or may not have like slammed down on a Sheets container and launched it across the room. Not only that, we do have the Flick Picks teammate,
his floating hand and his... Find on the Facebook group, on the Instagram, on the Twitter, whatever. Find the graphic of the teams. John's picture, he's with somebody, and they could get out.
It's like that. Oh, God damn it. Okay, so it's like one of these,
here.
like right here.
And they got the arm out, but not the hand.
It's just a hand floating.
It's incredible.
It's like the fucking hand from Addams Family.
The Flick Pick family. Anyway, so right off the bat, if Dan Murrell and Ben Bateman team up for teams, dear God, teams is going to be insane this year. We said it during free agency. This season, there is the potential for a lot of powerhouse old heads to team up and
turn teams into an actual war.
I want to know who he wants from the Stars for Chris Jericho.
Yeah, okay, so we can have that conversation now.
So, Kaiser drafted Chris Jericho. Jericho saying he won't play, which is a shame because I think they could work well together.
I understand that, like, I understand why he knows Roxy.
Yeah,
they know each other.
I can understand because I think Jericho could fit Kaiser's vibe if it wasn't for the fact that he's like, I'm a celebrity player and I want to play with Roxy, so I'm going to play with Roxy. And even then, it's smart. It would have been smart for anyone to take him to force a trade.
Brandon Hanna.
That's who I was going to say. Yep. If Brandon wants to stay a heel and still play well, because I think he'll also work well with Kaiser. Because again, if he's going to,
I think he's going for either. Like, I think he's going for the established talent. Roxy's never going to part ways for Draco and Snyder for anybody.
Absolutely no.
She'd have to be brain dead to want to give up Damon.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
For like, again, no disrespect, the number one contender is Jericho. But he's going for no. You don't trade like the undefeated, like record holding Star Wars player.
Yeah,
for
not even close.
Jericho. Like, it's cool to have Jericho around. Not gonna happen. But I see him going for either one of the established talents.
So either Hannah or Janine. And I think between the two, I think he would want Brandon because he just is geared to... Not that Janine plays an IG, right?
She does. I think Janine's a smarter move. I think Hannah fits the dungeon better.
I think so too. So maybe that's the play. Maybe he's going to convince Jericho to play with him. I don't know.
I hope he does. I really do hope that's a thing because I think
they will both do well regardless of which one they're with. And I think at that point, it really just comes down to Jericho has all the deciding power here because he's in that Kevin Smith tier of celebrity match that Christian will want him to play no matter what, and he will make sure he is in a position that he's comfortable playing. And if that means being on the stars, then Kaiser will trade.
Yeah.
Like that's where we're at. So I think the trade for Brendan Hanna, I think I'm trying to think of any other, like, maybe a rookie, if a rookie starts to really prove their stuff, and then he's like, hey, I'll give you Jericho for that rookie. So
yeah.
We'll
see. We'll definitely see.
Didn't she pick up a Dragon Con player?
I think she did.
So
she might have, yeah.
Maybe Zach Brackett?
That might be right. Like I said, I can't remember a lot of the rookies.
I can't either. But maybe a Dragon Con player for Star Wars. Because they mentioned those, and we kept, like, the night of, we were like, okay, we remember that one's a Dragon Con player, and now we've both forgotten.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
A lot happened that night. But yeah, I hate to say it. I don't like saying it out loud.
I think the dungeon this season is... Now I'm going to eat my words because of what I've said the whole time. They're kind of...
You'll do this to yourself.
They're primed in the same way that Finstock was primed last season.
Uh-huh. You're absolutely right.
And granted, it's because they have two of the same players. But I think...
yeah, there is that.
It's like they have Merle and Bateman. But on top of that, I think they're more unified in a cause, which is screw Finstock. And
yep.
I think Kaiser can do a better job of handling faction beef.
Yeah, you would hope. I don't think there will be. I don't think you'll have these situations where
eventually Bateman and Merle will have to play each other again.
Almost certainly there will be a rematch this season.
Because that's just going to be a big ticket seller.
Yep.
Merle v. Bateman 3. Can Bateman finally do it? Like, that's the...
no landmines or rakes. Yeah.
So I'm so excited.
I'm excited for you. I hate to say it, but this is... Dungeon scaring me this season. And finally, for the usual suspects, we have Ethan Irwin, Drew McWeeny, and Liz Shannon Miller from Free Agency. Amoro Moses, Mary E. Wilson, Stacey Howard, Jacob Winthavian? We'll go with that.
Winthavian? I don't know.
Yeah. Paul Walker Hauser, Frankie Alvarez, Paige Amoretti, Nikki DiMolanta, and Doug Benson. Nikki is a rookie. I think Sam has a good mix here of rookies and
returning players.
Yeah.
I think Amora Moses, a rookie, is touted as a really big Inner Geekdom player coming in, from what I've heard.
Badass name.
Absolutely. I think between Ethan Irwin and Drew McWeeny and Liz Shannon Miller, he has a fantastic loadout for singles and in teams, because Drew wants to play in teams.
God, Ethan Irwin and Drew McWeeny on a team. Holy shit.
Dude, that would be nuts. That would be insane. I like both of them a lot, so I think that could be a lot of... They're in that realm of player for me where I'm just like, I just like them. They're just fun.
The Marge Simpson meme. I think they're neat.
I just think they're neat. Because, like, they were playing before the kayfabe was super important. And not that I'm, like, super against the kayfabe, but I like it when players are just like, not that I'm just here to kind of flex the fact that I know movies.
Yeah.
Like that's my whole persona right now is, man, I'm just good at this. And that's what Ethan Irwin brings. That's what Drew McWeeny brings. I love that shit.
Light shit talking sprinkled on.
So yeah, I think Sam's got a good loadout. I think
the suspects are a solid team.
Same with the Dead, where like they're right in the middle. I don't think anyone is like underpowered this season.
No, I think the balance of power is really well distributed in an overall sense.
So So yeah, that's our draft. Are we taking a break this week? Is that a thing?
So yeah, I think this will end up being like a hiatus episode once this comes out. I don't think there's gonna be anything to really gnaw on unless there's developments with the first class league or anything like that. Barring a big trade.
Because he said the season comes back on the 19th, right? That's the start date.
I believe so, the 17th or the 19th.
So maybe take a break this week. We're spitballing ideas live because that's what we do.
That's what we do around these parts.
Take a break this week. Next week, give predictions for the matches. Following week.
I like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Obviously, it will be Laura Kelly, now representing Swag, I guess, going toe to toe with Molly Damon of The Dungeon. We could have started the season with Corruption versus Dungeon. I'm still upset.
Oh, and happy Black History Month.
Oh, yeah. I keep forgetting it's February 1st.
Yeah, me too.
I honestly thought I think it's January 31st didn't end.
I opened Facebook this morning and they have the Black History Month thing in the corner and I was like, what's BHM? Oh, Black History Month. Oh my God, it's February.
Yeah. So there's that. But very excited for that match. Hey, listen, the season starts with Star Wars and IG. I couldn't be happier about it.
Same, honestly.
Yeah. So stay tuned for that. We might have a very special episode coming out soon. That would be an interview with a player soon. So stay tuned for that. Fingers crossed for that. And the main event obviously will be Chandra Dandapani versus Mara Kanopik. The Brown Dwarf Star versus the Chosen for the Inner Geekdom belt because Mara is finally cashing in that number one contender shot. So please stay tuned for all that. We will be off for a week, like we said. I don't think there's going to be really anything to talk about. Now watch us eat crow and like Friday afternoon, we're scrambling to figure out when we're going to record Friday night. But luckily there isn't a draft or anything like that we have to watch. It'll just be, hey, you up on the tee? I don't know. Maybe there will be a quickie episode depending on if anything happens on like the after shows. If, there's a big development on Rundown or anything, we might have something to talk about. But we'll go from there. With that, Travis, where can the lovely people find you, my friend?
Probably in the bathroom peeing because I made it a whole episode without using the bathroom.
So proud of you.
And they can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Travis Political.
Indeed, they can.
Jared.
Yep.
I have my Smets hoodie behind me. Where can the people find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DarkJedi2552. And you can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and on our website, www.thenerdacademypodcast.com, where if you're feeling generous, you can donate to our Patreon page, where you can get all manner of Nerd Academy goodies, like... you can get all manner of... Patreon, that's not our TeePublic yet.
Not yet.
No. Okay, cool. God damn it. Speaking of our patrons, thank you to the Waffle Wizard, Kason Brion, Delta 9, and Zach Cadals. You guys help us produce the content that we love to make. On the $10 tier, aside from getting a shout out every episode, you will also get 1 week early access to both Campus Life and the Nerd Academy Movie Club every week. Whichever show it's supposed to be that week, that is. On the $5 tier, you get access to our Versus series for Knights of the Nerd Republic. Our latest episode dropped today, since it's the first, and that was Rey Skywalker versus Barra Sophie. We have our most recent episode of Heroic History 101 on our Patreon, Heroes in Crisis. We're going to be covering some Sam Wilson Captain America stuff for Black History Month and tying into the release of the show in March. So we got it on both ends there.
And then I have an idea for actual March that I want to run by you after the show's done.
Cool, because I have did I tell you my idea for Movie Club in March?
Yes, okay. And it will kind of tie in with that too.
Oh, hell yeah. I'm so excited.
I'm not. Tune into TNAP today?
Tomorrow? Because I am going to try to have this up in like 10 to 20 minutes, ideally on the shorter side of that, before we jump into recording Nerd Academy here. But yeah, check all that stuff out in the $5 tier. You also get the audio commentaries that tie in with Nerd Academy Movie Club. So it's actually a movie club that you can watch and listen along with us. And if you'd like to support the Nerd Academy podcast even further, you can check out our Patreon page where you can get all manner of goodies. I really thought you were about to take my phone out and try to have it on camera. I was going to be like, what did you think was hiccups? God damn it. T-shirts, hoodies, masks, stickers, wall art, tote bags, phone cases, you name it, we got it. Slap our logo and our faces on your stuff.
Give us your money.
We want a gift, but only if it's money. Anyway, yeah, John Mulaney will be a guest very soon. God, could you imagine?
No.
We're going to campaign for it. Mulaney on TNAP. Start the hashtag. Get it going. But with that, thank you guys so much for listening. And
we still don't have anything.
we still don't have an outro.